Unbelievable stories that turned out 100% true, real crime and mystery cases you won't forget. It began as a routine report, a simple note about a time card discrepancy from a night guard named Leon Hartridge, 43, who worked at a warehouse off a lonely interstate in Georgia. The kind of place where diesel fumes clung to the walls and fluorescent lights hummed like old memories. Leon had filed what he called a missing hours report in March of 2019. Nothing about it sounded alarming at first, just another man complaining about payroll errors. But 3 days later, Leon didn't show up for work. He didn't come home. His supervisor, assuming Leon quit, entered the office Friday morning to find his lunchbox untouched, coffee thermos half full, and his reflective vest hanging neatly on a hook, radio still attached. The only clue was his last ID swipe at 3:42 a.m., then nothing. The CCTV footage confirmed 5 of the 6 cameras worked fine that night. The 6th, the one aimed at the north loading dock, froze at 3:41 a.m., just 1 minute before Leon vanished. 3 minutes later, every motion detector in the building stopped. When techs checked the video file, they found it wasn't corrupted, it had been manually overwritten. That detail changed everything. Investigators visited Leon's small apartment a few miles from the warehouse. His wallet, keys, and ID sat untouched on the counter. But a spiral notebook on the kitchen table caught their attention. The last entry read, in Leon's messy handwriting, "Clock shows 4 when I walk out. Feels later. Lights wrong color again." It wasn't the first time Leon had mentioned the lights. Coworkers recalled him saying the new LED motion sensors messed with his sense of time. He'd walk in thinking it was midnight but swear it felt closer to morning. Some laughed it off, but one coworker remembered Leon saying, "Those lights don't just flicker, they change time." Police initially dismissed the claim. But then, while tracing Leon's phone, they found a call placed to a county line at 3:48 a.m., just minutes after the cameras froze. The call lasted 53 seconds before cutting off mid-sentence. The strange part? The signal didn't come from the local cell tower. It pinged 30 miles east, near a closed construction site. Deputies found fresh tire tracks there, but no car, no Leon, no clues. Months passed with no progress. The story faded from the news until June, when the company hired a new HR contractor. While auditing payroll, she noticed something that didn't make sense. Leon's ID had logged 2 entries between 2 o'clock and 4 a.m., at 2 different doors, seconds apart. Same ID. Same timestamp. Impossible. Digging deeper, the tech team found a secondary user account in the system under Leon's name, tagged to the electrical maintenance division, a department he'd never worked for. The account had been active for 1 week only, then deleted. The listed administrator? Temporary systems testing. No one remembered authorizing that. Investigators began connecting more dots. Archived security data revealed that for several nights before Leon disappeared, digital clocks on site rolled backward for 3 seconds before correcting themselves, always around the same hour. Leon had written about it in his notes. Clock skipped again. Same moment, the hum cut out. When technicians inspected the sublevel, an abandoned section sealed since the 1990s, they found old time card machines, one still loaded with paper rolls. On one strip of yellowed cardstock, Leon's employee number appeared faintly next to the name of a worker who had died years before. Somehow, the modern digital system had merged with obsolete punch data, producing ghost entries of people who shouldn't exist in the logs. The working theory was unsettling. The warehouse's outdated mainframe, partially running on a discontinued scheduling program called Shiftline, could, under rare conditions, duplicate time entries from old archives. But even the engineers admitted that didn't explain how Leon's ID could be used simultaneously at 2 points in space. A week after that discovery, highway cleanup crews found a torn reflective vest fragment near the same construction bypass where Leon's phone had pinged. DNA testing was inconclusive, but oil residue on the zipper matched the warehouse's loading dock equipment. In the official report, Leon was listed as missing, presumed deceased. But those who worked with him believed something stranger had happened, that Leon hadn't just gone missing, but had slipped between 2 readings of the same minute. The last line of his notebook remains chilling. Clock shows 4. Door says 3. Some say that was his final attempt to describe what he saw, a moment out of order, a glitch in time itself. When the company replaced the security network months later, they destroyed every old server. But one thing they didn't erase, the original missing hours report, still preserved in the county archive. Its timestamp? 3:42 a.m. The exact minute the camera went dark. In the spring of 2011, a quiet handyman named Vince Daly worked maintenance at a fading roadside motel in the Arizona desert. The kind of place that buzzed under neon even in daylight, where the air smelled of rust, cigarettes, and old carpet cleaner. The motel's sign had lost a few letters over the years. Once reading Alton Motel, it now flickered simply as Alton M_. Vince had no reason to expect anything unusual that morning. His job was simple: replace a broken safe in room 12, one of the few units still unoccupied. The owner told him it had been sealed for decades, the last manager having died before passing on the combination. Vince grabbed his toolbox, pried the hinges loose, and cracked it open. Inside sat a small black ledger, sticky at the edges like something had spilled on it long ago. No label, no name, just a thumbprint mark on the front. He tossed it into his bag, figuring it was nothing more than a guest's forgotten notebook. That evening, at a diner across the road, curiosity got the better of him. He flipped through the pages over a plate of fries. At first, it looked like a record of dates, initials, and dollar amounts. Simple bookkeeping. But halfway through, the handwriting changed. Names were written in full now, followed by phrases like balance cleared, returned, and handled in 12. Some lines were crossed out with heavy ink. Others had stars beside them. One name stopped him cold: Carla Mendez, a former housekeeper whose picture still hung behind the front desk with a yellowed, missing since 1986 flyer taped beside it. The next morning, Vince showed the ledger to Marlene Greer, the motel's daytime manager. She brushed him off with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Old books like that are full of ghost entries," she said. But Vince could tell she was hiding something. Days later, his curiosity led him to the county library, where he scrolled through microfilm archives of local newspapers. And there it was, August 22, 1986, an article about Carla Mendez's disappearance. She'd last been seen carrying a deposit bag for the motel's weekend earnings. Police had suspected robbery, but no suspect was ever found. When Vince flipped back through the ledger, he saw it again. The same name, same date, written 3 times. C. Mendez, final balance. Ledger closed. Something in his gut shifted. He copied the pages and brought them to Alton McRae, a retired sheriff's deputy who had worked the area during the 80s. Alton studied the handwriting for a long moment before saying softly, "That looks like Ray Weller's hand." Ray Weller, the motel's owner back then, died in 1992, his car found wrecked off a canyon road. Locals had called him the Collector, though few ever said why. Rumor had it Weller ran a cash lending ring through the motel, offering small loans to people who couldn't use a bank. The 12 Club, Alton murmured. That's what folks whispered it was called. You didn't pay, you checked out for good. The words chilled Vince. He started asking around town, mentioning the ledger. But the more he talked, the quieter people became. One old bartender told him not to dig. Another said, "Let it stay buried, son. The desert forgets things for a reason." Still, he couldn't stop. Vince tracked down Isabel Mendez, Carla's sister, who still lived 2 towns over. She took one look at the ledger and refused to touch it. "We tried for 25 years, she said. "Nobody cared then. They won't care now." Before leaving, she pointed to another name in the book, P. Larkin. "Ask him," she said. He drank with Weller. Vince found Pete Larkin, now living in a nursing home. The man's memory was fading, but one detail stood firm: we paid what we owed on weekends. Weller said it was the 12 Club. If you didn't pay up, you checked out. The puzzle pieces began to fit, all those crossed out names, all labeled cleared on weekends. Vince returned to the ledger. Next to Carla's name, he saw a note he'd missed before. Handled in 12. Room 12. The very room he just gutted. He reported everything to the sheriff's office. They took the ledger but didn't say much. Weeks passed with no updates, until October 2012, when construction crews digging behind the motel uncovered partial human remains. Dental records confirmed they belonged to Carla Mendez. Forensic testing found residue on the ledger's pages matching soil from the burial site, both containing a rare industrial solvent used by the motel's cleaning staff back in the 80s. The 12 Club wasn't rumor anymore. It was a record of deaths settled in blood. The motel shut down soon after. Vince quit and moved north, taking a maintenance job at a lakeside resort. The case made headlines for a week, the Ledger case, before fading like everything else in that desert did. Years later, when the crumbling motel was finally demolished, workers found a second safe, smaller, newer, sealed tight. Inside was a single key tagged Room 12, copy. Some say Vince planted it. Others think Weller left it behind, a grim joke meant to outlive him. Either way, that key was the last trace of the motel's dark bookkeeping, a reminder that even the most ordinary places can keep ledgers of their own. The morning sun shimmered across the heat-cracked highway, warping the air in slow waves. For the volunteers lined up beside their cars, the search for Owen Brackett had started like any other missing person sweep, steady, methodical, almost routine. Owen was 42, a crane operator, last seen driving away from a weekend garage sale with a box of tools. His sister had filed the report when his texts went unanswered overnight. Among the volunteers was Kira Duvall, a 31-year-old paramedic used to chaos but drawn to order. She loved maps, coordinates, grids, things that could make sense of confusion. Her partner for the day, a quiet woman named Bryn, carried an orange notepad and kept to a patient rhythm as they combed the southern fence line. At first, nothing about the search felt unusual. Dusty shoes, distant radios, deputies marking checkpoints with yellow tape. But near midday, as teams regrouped at mile marker 11, Kira checked her phone, and that small choice began to turn the day inside out. On a local community page, a new post was climbing fast. The caption read, "Is this him or am I seeing things?" The attached photo showed a silver truck pulled over near a farm stand. A man stood beside it, holding a cardboard box. His face was blurred by motion, but the timestamp, yesterday at 4:12 p.m., made Kira's pulse quicken. She zoomed in. Something in the truck bed didn't fit, a folded reflective bag and a metal rod wrapped in tape, not the kind of items you'd find at a yard sale. She took a screenshot and showed Bryn. Together they stared at the reflection in the farm stand's glass window. Behind the man, reversed and faint, a highway sign appeared. Kira tilted the phone. The reflection resolved into a sequence of digits, 118 spur, a route that ran nowhere near the official search grid. She circled the numbers in red and radioed command. Within 20 minutes, the sheriff redirected a drone team toward the western ridge. As the others fanned out, Kira's phone buzzed with a message from the man who had taken the original photo, a traveler named Leonis. He'd sent a higher resolution version. In that image, Kira could see the truck's fishing club decal and a mud ring on one tire, signs of someone who knew backroads. The shift in focus was immediate. Deputies coordinated new coordinates along Spur 118, the forgotten cut through the ridge. A tower contractor confirmed that a gate lock there had been replaced 2 days earlier after someone cut it. An hour later, a deputy's voice broke through the static on the search channel. Unit 36, visual on compact pickup. Partial plate match. The vehicle sat angled on a shelf road below the ridge. 2 wheels buried in scrub. The passenger seat held a box of tools. A safety triangle case lay open near the bumper. Owen Brackett was there, alive but dehydrated. He'd climbed the ridge for cell reception after a failed fuel pump, slipped, and decided to wait out the heat. His phone battery had died just as dusk fell. For all its tension, the rescue ended quietly. The official report credited civilian-supplied imagery and volunteer analysis. But among the team, everyone knew the truth. A reflection, a few reversed letters in a pane of glass, had rerouted an entire search. That night, back at her apartment, Kira scrolled through the photo again. The red circle she'd drawn looked crude now, almost accidental, yet it had anchored the day. She wrote a short note in her logbook. Truth hides in mirrors and edges. Always look twice. A week later, the county site published its statement. It didn't name her. It didn't need to. The words were enough. A roadside photo changed the search in minutes because someone paid attention. Kira folded the printout, slipped it behind her station ID, and went back to her next night shift, calm, steady, and alert to the quiet details that save lives. Subscribe for more dark mysteries, true crime documentaries, and real-life suspense stories every day.